Death, taxes, and the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat facing off in the NBA playoffs. Those are the three guarantees in life. And boy, am I sick of it. Boy, am I sick of it, man. It's not even that it's bad basketball. It's not even that I'm afraid of them, even though I know, I've given off the impression that I'm afraid of the Miami Heat. It's just every freaking year, dog. In the last 5 years, we've faced each other in 2020, 2022, 2023, and now this year, bro. 4 times in the last 5 years, the NBA playoffs has had the Boston Celtics versus Miami face off in the playoffs. And let me tell you, they have provided some amazing basketball, some of the greatest series we've ever seen. This is one of the best rivalries in basketball, and we get to see it again this year. Now, unfortunately, one Jimmy Butler is not available for the series due to an injury that he suffered in the first game of the play-in, which is, honestly, again, as much as y'all think I'm happy about that, as much as, God, we don't have to face Miami with Jimmy Butler. Number one, I've had the energy ever since the play-in tournament started that I want to smoke. I don't know what to tell you. If you've been watching the podcast, I've been wanting to smoke with Miami at this point. Because I'm the same way with the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers and how the Lakers are approaching that series, bro. That is an inevitable last team. And with a 64-win team with the talent that we got, bro, if we can't make it past a 8-seed Miami Heat without their best player, we do not deserve to win the championship. Even before that, if we cannot beat the Miami Heat, an 8-seed Miami Heat, and that team got blown the fuck out by Denver in the finals, and we're struggling, like, we don't deserve that championship. So might as well get it out the way now. Let's really test what this team is about. Let's get rid of the boogeyman if the boogeyman actually exists. And let's go. Let's go. We want Miami. I heard the chance. Y'all want Boston? First of all, y'all don't got any option. Right? Because if y'all lost, y'all would have been out the tourney. Season would have been over for y'all. But second of all, yeah, I want Miami, bro. And going back to the Jimmy Butler injury, because that is where this started. I am actually sad that Jimmy Butler is injured. Because I hate, specifically the star players, injuries to star players going into series like this. Specifically series like this. Because what'll happen is, if Boston beats Miami, it is going to be, y'all beat a Miami Heat team that wasn't healthy. That wasn't healthy. They didn't have their best player. Now, if we lose, womp womp, y'all lost to an underdog without their best player. And then on the flip side, you got a man legitimately hurt, like actually hurting in pain, because of a sports injury, and that's never fun. You should never root for anything like that. And also for his team, it's like, damn, you at the end of the day, you just want to see people at their full strength. You want to beat people at their full strength, You don't want to hear excuses from any other side. You want to get the full satisfaction of your win when you do receive that. It is what it is. Miami versus Boston is here, and I'm here to preview this series. Let's get the conversation starting, y'all. Let's get the conversation starting. The Boston Celtics, let's just get the cat out the bag. I do have the Boston Celtics winning this one. And I am more confident in that with the fact that Jimmy Butler is out. Because if I wasn't, I feel like that'd be discrediting Jimmy Butler. Like, Jimmy Butler is extremely important to this team. He is their best player. He's a guy that can give you 22, 6 and 6 every single night, can be a closer for you. You know what I'm saying? A very important defensive piece to a team that succeeds off of the defensive end. Year in and year out. You know what I'm saying? So the Miami Heat, definitely an underdog going into the series. I have Boston winning this one in 4 to 5 games. If it goes to 6, I would not be surprised, because being a Boston Celtics fan has never been easy. So why would it be easy this year against this specific team? Hell, even the only championship that we have in the last 30 years, every single fucking round outside of the Eastern Conference Finals went to 7 games, going up to the finals, and then the NBA Finals went to 6 games. So, yeah, even that 08 super team-ass team went to 7 against the Atlanta Hawks. So, it's not easy being a Boston Celtics fan. A couple of things that I am worried about going into the series is the momentum versus rust conversation. For those who haven't been paying attention to the Boston Celtics for the last month of the season have been load managing like crazy. I think there were only a handful of games where the true starting five actually played. And for the most part, we have been resting players on purpose. Hell, even, Joe Mazzulla has gone out there and said that, in certain games, we wanted to test certain strategies and wasn't really looking for the win. If anything, we embraced those close games to stimulate and simulate those situations in game. So alluding to essentially, you know what I'm saying, throwing away games to keep it close for the sake of the playoffs, which therefore effectively landed the Celtics. Even though we ended the season with 64 wins, I truly do believe if the Celtics were not trolling in the last month of the season, this would be closer to 67, 68, maybe even 69 wins. I'm going to keep it a stack. But long story short, and I don't know the last time the Celtics played, but obviously Miami has played 2 games. The Celtics don't play until Sunday. I don't think the Celtics have played in a week. Maybe even more than that. And on top of that, again, I think they've been trolling over the last month. Long story short, I understand, especially now that we're seeing all these injuries come up in the play-in tournament, I understand why the Celtics did it. Obviously, going into the playoffs, health is the most important thing. And you would hate for you to lose certain players in the last month of the season in meaningless games. And I'm happy that going into the playoffs, we are going to be fully healthy. But on the flip side of that, I am a little bit worried about the rust. I also think this team has a problem with going into situations not with not necessarily with their back against the wall, but actually the opposite, when they have to punch down. Because I feel like in those situations, the Celtics end up playing sloppy basketball. They don't pay attention to details. They play down to their competition. Games get closer than what they have to be. And that's how we get these moments that we've had over the last 2 seasons. And that's not a Joe Mazzulla thing. That is just a Boston Celtics thing, in my opinion. I think the Boston Celtics play their best brand of basketball when their backs are against the wall, when it's do or die situations, and that's when they play the best. But when they're expected to win a series, when they're expected to dominate, when they're expected to really show who they are, that's when they disappoint you. That's when they disappoint me. So these are the things that I'm looking at going into the series. Again, I still think the Celtics prove me the fuck wrong, but at the same token, I also have my doubts with this team when it comes to these things. Also, I'm never doubting Eric Spoelstra. I don't give a fuck if Jimmy Butler is not on the other side of the court. There is a coaching mismatch. When it comes to Miami versus Boston. Boston is definitely the more talented team. I think Joe Mazzulla, in my opinion, has proven to be a good coach. Maybe not great, but he's proven to be a good coach. But yeah, there is a coaching mismatch when it comes to this upcoming series. The main things I'm looking for when it comes to this series is, number one, how do we beat that zone? Miami runs zone a lot, and contrary to popular belief, in an era where shooting is so emphasized, you would think that zone defense would not be so effective. But in actuality, when executed correctly and when you have the proper personnel, it can actually be very effective because of the fact that so many teams now focus on trying to hunt mismatches. So when you run a zone and you just stay put on wherever your zone is, it's kind of harder to find those mismatches when no one's really switching because of the zone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very, very interested to see how the Boston Celtics beat that zone and how they play that zone. I think the key to beating a zone, regardless of who the personnel is on the other side of the court, is having as much shooters as you can, is having as much playmaking as you can. And I do think in that regard, specifically with Kristaps Porzingis on the court, like the Boston Celtics have a really, really good personnel to counteract that. You know what I'm saying? Do we have elite passers on the court? I don't think we do. But I do think we have enough perimeter playmaking from 1 through 4, from Drew, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. These are wings. These are perimeter players that are good enough to make the right reads, in my opinion, to the point where I don't think that's a problem. And then again, Kristaps Porzingis being able to space out the floor, being able to play in that dunker spot as well, I think is going to be big for us. So yeah, that's my biggest question for the Boston Celtics is how are they going to break that zone? And also Jason Tatum. I think to me in this playoff run, the biggest question to me will be Jason Tatum. I still am a firm believer that to win a championship, you need a tier 1 player, and I've regurgitated this like a broken record throughout this whole season. You need a tier 1 player playing like a tier 1 level in the playoffs, to be more specific, to win that championship. And I do think, given what a tier 1 player is in today's NBA, Jason Tatum is on the line. I do think his numbers would have been better if he wasn't on a team that was so stacked where, you know, Jaylen Brown needs his 18 shots, Drew Holiday needs his 10, Derek White needs his 12, Kristaps needs his 13. If Jason Tatum was on a team where he was able to get 24, 25 shots off, I think we'd be having different conversations. But nevertheless, that has nothing to do with how he needs to play in the playoffs. I still think there's a level that Jason Tatum can go to in the playoffs. I think there's a level that Jason Tatum needs to go to in the playoffs. And going into the series, I am paying very, very close attention, especially against a team that does not have a Jimmy Butler, how a Jason Tatum is going to play in the first round. Is he going to dominate? Is he going to assert his dominance? Is he going to let motherfuckers know that he is here and he is not playing this year? I'm not playing this year. I ain't going to lie. If I'm Jason Tatum, game 1, I'm making a statement game. I'm trying to drop 35 game 1. I'm trying to make a statement to the rest of the league that, yo, not only are we here, yo, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I was playing with y'all in the regular season. You know what I'm saying? I was doing what was best for the team in the regular season. Now, I'm still going to do that in the playoffs. What's needed for me in the playoffs is for me to be assertive, for me to be dominant, and take my game to the next level. So I'm looking at a Jason Tatum. I'm also looking at a Jaylen Brown. Did you improve your playmaking? Are you going to be more effective as a defensive player in this series? I'm looking at a Jaylen Brown in that regard. I'm looking at a Kristaps Porzingis. You know what I'm saying? I do believe he provides certain mismatches on the offensive end that will help us. But Kristaps Porzingis, let's not forget, he was known as Tingus Pingus for a minute. And going up against Bam Adebayo, I'm assuming is going to be his primary defender. How is Kristaps Porzingis going to respond to the physical, one of the best defenders in the league, Bam Adebayo, both offensively and defensively? How is that going to hold up? You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely looking out for a lot of things with the Boston Celtics with a bigger picture in mind. But I think from a talent perspective, the Boston Celtics have all the tools to end this series in 4 to 5 games. We just gotta go out there and prove it. We just gotta go out there and prove it. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. After a 64-win season with this talented of a team, I'll go on record right now. If the Boston Celtics do not win this series, against the Miami Heat, if even after winning 64 games, retooling, having another year under our belt, all of this healthy, we do not beat this team without Jimmy Butler, I am not going to be a Celtics fan after this playoff run. I'm sorry. Because that's just sorry behavior. That is just sorry fucking behavior, dog. At the very least, I'm not going to be a Jason Tatum fan. How about that? Maybe not a I'm still continue to be a Boston Celtics fan, but maybe not a Jason Tatum fan anymore, especially if he chokes in that scenario. But without Jimmy Butler, is he gonna step up as a scorer for this team? Because I do feel like this may be I don't want to say blessing in disguise because that's fucked up, but if Bam Adebayo proves that he can, there's a level of scoring and there's a level of offense that we have never seen just because he's never been given the opportunity or been in a situation to show that off. I do think it's going to be interesting if Bam can elevate in the playoffs for this team. I think Tyler Hero has a lot of questions to answer as well after not being on a team last season. Can he step up with the absence of Jimmy Butler? There's a lot of players with the absence of Jimmy Butler that can really prove themselves in this series. And I'm looking at Tyler Hero and Jaime Jaquez Jr. specifically to fill that role. I do think when it comes to the future of this franchise, let's keep it a bean, let's keep it a stack. Jimmy Butler is 34. Jimmy Butler is 34, about to be 35. He is an aging player. He is a veteran in the league. So if their 24-year-old player or their 22-year-old rookie can step up and provide some sort of light as to what future Miami basketball could be in combination with Bam Adebayo still only being 26, 27, I do think for Miami, there's a lot of really good things that we can look forward, or that y'all can look forward to in this series. Nikola Jovic as well, getting more opportunities. I believe he started today's game against the Chicago Bulls. A lot of things to look forward to for Miami in this series. And also for me, listen, Eric Spoelstra, if you pull off some dark magic, if you even somehow, some way push this Celtics team to 7 games, that's gonna be some godlike shit. And I can only hate so much because at some point you gotta tip your hat to coaching greatness, especially if he's Filipino. You know what I'm saying? I'm very happy that one of the greatest minds, not only in the league right now, but of all time, is a Filipino. So Eric Spoelstra, you are making us proud with how you are coaching this team. So shout out to Eric Spoelstra. But yeah, I think a lot of people have been saying that the Miami Heat are a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs. I think they will prove that again this season. You do not want to see Miami in the playoffs. But in the same token, if I'm a Miami Heat fan, I understand these underdog runs for as a 6 seed and as an 8 seed are fun in the moment. It gets the adrenaline rushing to prove motherfuckers wrong. But at the same token, it's like, yo, how dependable is this shit? And as a Heat fan, I'd be frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Because let's just keep it a buck. When you go into the playoffs as an 8 seed, you weren't one of the worst teams going into the playoffs just on an average basis, just historically speaking. And having to climb your way out the mud every single year is not fun. You know what I'm saying? So for the Miami Heat, like, I understand, I respect what y'all did last season, but y'all have put yourselves in a position, even though y'all made the finals last season again, that to go back there and potentially win another championship, you got to go through the gauntlet, so much so that in a weak Eastern Conference, you have to face a 64-win team in the first round and play 2 play-in games just to get there. Like, if I'm a Miami Heat fan, I'm still pissed. Because if we played better in the regular season, we may not even be in a position where Jimmy Butler gets injured, in that first play-in game. So, I think this is another season where Miami needs to get it out the mud again if they want to make a deep playoff run. Which, if I'm a Miami Heat fan, it would start to be getting old to me, if not already getting old. Like, damn, can we just go into the playoffs as a high seed and be expected to win and have these competitive ass series instead of being extreme underdogs trying to pull off Cinderella stories every single year? You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, I am keeping my energies high. I'm keeping my energy positive. Okay, I'm confident that the Boston Celtics are going to get the job done. I'm confident that the Boston Celtics are going to have a great playoff run. I do have them winning it all this season. and it's time to get the boogeyman out of here. It's time to beat allegations. It's time to respond. It's time to show motherfuckers who we really are. Okay? All right? As far as the Miami Heat, listen, shout out to the Miami Heat. Again, this is a franchise that as much as I hate seeing the smelly, sweaty-ass franchise in the playoffs every single fucking year, I gotta tip my hat off to them for being consistently good every single year. They always keep it competitive, and I expect nothing less. Even if it's a sweep, I expect it to be a sweep. Even if it is a sweep, I expect the games to be close. Is it annoying? Absolutely. Twitter will be an annoying place for me. This comment section will be an annoying place for me because of this matchup right here. My mentions will be flooded every single hour of the day. But it's season 4. Don't let my tone fool y'all, buddy. I've been trying to keep it objective for a lot of this video, but it's season 4. Y'all talk about we want Boston. Y'all got no choice. Y'all gotta go through us. Okay? we about to end that tomfoolery. How about that? Let me know what y'all think going into the series, man. Let me know what y'all think going into the series. I'm out of here, man. Peace.